And this is London, but coming to you, of course, all over the world, thanks to the wonders of the internet and the wonders of SputnikNews.com. We're on FM in the Washington, D.C. area, 105.5 are the magic numbers there. On AM, coast to coast, across America. But uniquely, I think this is a radio show with pictures, and many, maybe most of you are listening to me now on screen, on Facebook. If you're watching us on Facebook, please share with every one of your friends, because we need to get back up to that magic 1 million number. We hit that number just once on episode 29 when we got 1.15 million viewers over the course of the week. Dramatic events that night, of course, looked like World War III dramatic events again this evening. You can watch also on YouTube and even on Twitter. You can follow us at Moat TV on Twitter if you have not already done so. You can watch it on my own Twitter feed also, and on the RT portals, almost all of them, RT.com, RT UK News, and so on. This is truly a global audience tuning in for issues of global significance, as a local terror attack was not foiled but cut short by anti-terror police who were actively surveying a terror suspect and shot him dead this afternoon on a street where I used to live for nearly 20 years. In fact, exactly 20 years, and only a couple of 100 yards away. And so, as I watched the story unfold this afternoon, it was of personal importance to me. Here's what seems to have happened. Two plainclothes officers were keeping this man under active surveillance. He went into a shop, he stabbed at least two people, and just outside the shop, the police shot him dead. So full marks to the security services. This was someone, obviously, that needed to be under active surveillance. No doubt there will be questions as to how this terror suspect managed to stab two people, one of them reportedly seriously. It's low rent so far as terrorism goes. It's not exactly the Twin Towers. It's not exactly hijacking airplanes. The suicide belt was a fake one, just like the London Bridge one, but it does show that in our midst we have people who are nursing their wrath to keep it warm and are ready to murder absolutely innocent people in Streatham, on Streatham High Road, ready to murder. For what? What was in the mind of this evil, wicked terrorist who now, thank God, lies dead? What was in the mind of Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu when they unveiled what they called the deal of the century, which has gone down like a lead balloon everywhere? The Kremlin described it today as a breach of international law, United Nations resolutions. The King of Saudi Arabia told the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas, that the position of the kingdom had not changed and would not change towards the Israel-Palestine conflict. No Arab leader has supported it, although 3 Arab ambassadors were present for its unveiling. I don't know if the two authors of the plan had a ball and chain around their collective ankles. One of them is indicted on serious corruption charges. The other merely impeached and on trial for his life until 24 or so hours ago. The plan takes away the whole prospect laid out in the Oslo agreements of a two-state solution. You could argue that that two-state solution was already dead before the deal of the century was even half written. 600,000 Israeli settlers in the very territory that was supposed to become the Palestinian state, according to the Oslo prescriptions, have put paid to any possibility of that. It seems to me, as someone involved in this subject for a very long time, that the parties would be better going to Moscow than Washington, because it's abundantly clear that Washington is on one side of this conflict, whereas Moscow, Russia, Putin, Lavrov have leverage and credit in the bank with both sides of this conflict. The relationship between Russia and Israel is close, if a little vexed from time to time, not least when Israel is shooting down Russian airplanes. But as could be seen at the commemoration of the liberation of Auschwitz, Russia has enormous moral standing amongst Jewish people everywhere in the world, and including in Israel. The best thing would be for the United Nations Security Council to return to this subject and stop allowing American freelance operations to undercut existing international law, existing United Nations resolutions. We'll be talking to a venerated expert on this subject, the editor of Middle East Eye, David Hurst, in just a few minutes' time. As I said in my introduction, the entitled classes of Britain are sobbing this evening into their wine and whining about the passport queues that they're going to have to stand in, they think, when they go for their next skiing holiday in Gstaad or Saint-Tropez for the summer, or wherever it is that they are going. Right until the end, the Waitrose Brigade, the soft shoe shufflers with their wafts of cologne and chiffon scarves, have not come to terms with why, how Britain voted for Brexit. There was an article in the BBC website this week lamenting the fact that there has been a dramatic fall in the number of foreign au pairs available for hire to the entitled classes in London. I thought that story summed everything up, and I'm grateful to the great trade union leader, Paul Embury, for pointing it out to me on Twitter. Now, there's other issues, of course, going on in the world beyond Brexit and the Middle East. Brexit is a British issue, a European issue, but it's also an American issue, because the plan clearly is, and you saw it in the presence of big Mike Pompeo coming over like a member of the family, the Sopranos, coming over to put the shoulder on the British government when it comes to future relations between our two countries. I want to make this clear because some people willfully misrepresent it. I have absolutely nothing against the American people. I broadcast to the American people 6 days out of 7 every week. My great-grandmother was the only woman in history, surely, to emigrate from America to Scotland in the 19th century. Some say she got on the wrong boat, but that's exactly what she did. So I have American blood in my veins. Many of my greatest heroes of sports and culture and music, acting, film, and so on are American. Some of the greatest people that ever walked the earth, and we'll be talking about the Hall of Fame later, are Americans. So it's nothing to do with enmity towards the United States or its people when I say to you that it is not taking back control by leaving Brussels and turning to Washington. It is not taking back control to become the 51st state of the United States of America. I fought for Brexit. I'll always be proud of the role that I played, but I did not fight to Brexit from the European Union in order to enter the United States of America. We want a special relationship between Britain and the United States, just not the kind of special relationship that Miss Lewinsky had with President Clinton. Do you get me? So we'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about freedom of speech. How could it be otherwise when I, with 345,000 followers on Twitter, some of you are watching this on Twitter now, If some people have their way, you won't be able to do that for very much longer. And 345,000 people will not be able to follow me because I will not be on Twitter. The people who are roaming around, it's a kind of troll factory, identifying one target after another, and doing everything that they can to close them down, shut their mouths. In fact, there's a hashtag saying, "Shut Galloway down." Well, here's a message for you. You will never shut me down. As I said last week, even if you kill me, you will not shoot me down, because my words will merely take wings and fly farther and higher and reach more people, even if you did. If you put me off Twitter, I'll go somewhere else, and I'll take a lot of people with me. Now, it may have been idle boasting on the part of the troll factory. It may have been. Early signs are that there's nothing to worry about. But when people with blue ticks dedicate themselves to shutting me down, it's not about me. It's about my message, my analysis, my narrative, which you may or may not agree with, but want nonetheless to hear. Because if you don't question more, if you don't listen more to more sources of information and analysis, how are you going to come to proper informed conclusions? So the issue of freedom of speech, I think, will probably be one of the themes of this whole show, as will the subject of forgiveness. We'll be talking in the second hour to Matthew Goodwin, the doyen of political scientists, the man who's analysed everything correctly throughout the Brexit saga. We'll be talking to him about what goes beyond Brexit. And we'll be talking to a working class poet of note. Now, it's not a small thing to be a working class poet. There haven't been many working class poets. We remember Robert Burns. We've just passed his annual commemoration. In Scotland, it's big. In Russia, it's big. In parts of the English-speaking world, it's big. Robert Burns was a working class poet, a man with a plough, a man working the land, a man with no money but words. Oh, what words. And I was thinking of just some of his words when I was thinking about our guest in the third hour. This is what Robert Burns said on the occasion of a national victory. It was a Thanksgiving commemoration thrown by the established church in England to thank the Lord for a national victory in arms. I don't know which national victory it was, but given the period of history in which it took place, it was unlikely to have been a glorious one from my point of view. This is what Robert Burns, the working class poet, said. "Ye hypocrites, are these your pranks, to murder men and gie God thanks? Halt, desist, go nae further. God'll no accept your thanks for murder." That's just, in the dialect, a taste of what you'll be getting in the third hour with my special guest, my special attraction. It's going to be, I'm sure, the mother of all talk shows. I'm glad that you're here. I hope you brought someone with you, and it's not too late to invite them. If you're watching on Facebook, it's the mother of all talk shows.